It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene
Sounds holly jolly to me.
before it's over. Let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
12 to be exact. Decoratively divided into 4 categories for your Yuletide pleasure.
So without further ado, silver up those bells like the multicolored lights and go out and build a snowman. And join us as we get into some seasonal shenanigans. And tonight we're unwrapping our final installment this year, right before the deadline. Scrooged. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, Dragon. Scrooged. It's a hard word to say.
It's our big special finale.
Is it not a hard word to say?
Scrooged?
Yeah, like, because it always, like, whenever I say it, always just sounds like Scrooge.
Well, it gets a little tricky at times, I guess.
All right. It's not important. So, Dragon, in terms of nostalgia for this thing, it's funny. I watched this movie on TV with my parents back, like, way back in, like, the mid to late 90s when I was, like, probably not even 10 years old. And Dragon, it was just that one time that I saw it, right? But this movie left such an impression on me to the point where rewatching it, revisiting it, like, I remember, like, it was like one of those, like, crazy, like, deja vu things where it's like I remembered, like, everything about this movie through the one time I saw it. And Dragon, you can imagine stuff in the third act of this movie. Let's just say it definitely there's a reason why I haven't revisited this one, because like there's some childhood trauma associated with this movie. But having said that though, Dragon, like, you know, I just like this movie's so good. It really is. It's another movie in Bill Murray's catalog that's freaking better than Ghostbusters, and I don't care what anyone says.
Right.
Cheap shot at Ghostbusters, I know, but
yeah, it really is, Tiki. However, Ghostbusters does factor in the Scrooged when we get into the background.
All right, well, what's your nostalgia with Scrooged?
My nostalgia, very simple, is, you know, I remember from what I recall, you know, Scrooge would be like one of those movies that comes on TV, and it's like basically the cell line being, okay, it's you know, Scrooge Christmas Carol with Bill Murray. You know, I probably checked that. I looked into it once, and it was like, all right, Scrooge, Bill Murray, let's see what it's got. Wait a minute, this isn't, you know, he's not Ebenezer Scrooge. What's going on here? It's like kind of so basically going first watch, like, without really giving it time of day. Initially, I was like, okay, well, this isn't that. You know, I'm going to write this off. And eventually, at a certain point, I don't know how many years went by, but, you know, time goes by, and I heard Richard Donner directed this, and it's like, oh my God, what are you kidding? Richard Donner directed this? I mean, I should say this too, folks. Man, I have a huge soft spot for Richard. Richard Donner is an amazing director. I love this piece. Of course, did the Christopher Reeve Superman, Lethal Weapon. The man is an excellent director, and so I gave it a shot. I gave it a fair shot. Watch it. I really liked it. It's really good. I'll admit, watching it more on Craig Light, there's a few things that maybe could have been fine-tuned, but again, it holds up tremendously well. It's very, the production values are astounding. It's very well directed. It's Bill Murray is great, but I found out some interesting stuff. I never looked into the background until we had to do this, Tiki. So with that said, we fire.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Dragon. Just one last thing with me. I'm pretty, like, I feel like one of my things that I'm kind of well known for people who know my general take on movies is I really, like, generally speaking, I'm really not a fan of movies that have tone issues in them. You know, movies that kind of fluctuate between the whimsy and the depressing. Like, Click's a good example of that. Bad Santa is honestly a perfect example of that. And Dragon, like, this movie, it's weird because it definitely has a tone problem. Like, that's one of the big things that Bill Murray, like, that's one of the big reasons why Bill Murray's not so much a fan of this movie himself. But I don't care. Like, this movie works so well for me almost because of the weird mixed tone. I don't know. It's a bizarre enigma for me, Dragon, because tone is one of those big things for me. So,
of course, I should also mention we're members of the Bill Murray Battalion. You know, we're Murray fans. You know, we're
Is that what we call ourselves, the Bill Murray Battalion?
Or the Bill Battalion, or the Bilbos, whatever you.
Okay, I like the Bilbos. That's hilarious. I will say with Bill Murray, Dragon, I really hate to admit this, but my first exposure to Bill Murray, it might be the same with you. I don't know. Osmosis Jones.
You know what's funny? It's amazing. It's amazing you bring. Oh, I mean, might be like I've seen clips of Caddyshack. It's probably technically the first place I saw Bill Murray. But I mean, my nostalgia. That was probably the first time I saw a full movie with Bill Murray before I really kind of grasped who Bill Murray really was.
Exactly.
If I'm being honest,
Bill Murray's dry sense of humor just did not work with Osmosis Jones at all. So for a while, I was like, why is this guy so popular? He wasn't that good in Osmosis Jones. Being the idiot kid who doesn't realize that it was totally the movie's fault.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of it's almost kind of like my Luke Skywalker thing. Not to the same degree. It's kind of like the whole thing of the guy as the character. I probably had seen Ghostbusters or Caddyshack. He's like, okay, those are the characters from that movie without watching the really, in the clips I've seen of it. Before years later, I watched it really all the way through. But before that, being full length features, okay, I recognize that face from Osmosis Jones. That's Bill Murray.
All
right. Okay, so here's the background, folks. Going to kind of abbreviate. We're going to sparse a little throughout, but main points to hit here. So, Scrooged, interestingly, as you imagine, a film that involves a ghost as well as time travel, features a ghost very prominently, was worked into the marketing of this film. Ghostbusters, it's Bill Murray's back and he's dealing with ghosts, but this time it's 3 against 1.
God.
And that was the sell line.
Is that really how the movie was marketed? It's Ghostbusters, but it's 3 against 1 this time.
Well, he's dealing with ghosts again. It's 3 against Tiki.
I could see him dealing with ghosts, but it's it's like, oh, now he's on his own and he's dealing with 3 of them.
That's Tiki. That was the sell line. That's practically quotes of what it was. I'm not joking on that. That's legit.
Okay.
So this was 4 years after Ghostbusters, and Bill Murray was kind of, I don't want to say in a slump, but he kind of went away. Went away from it all. And Bill Murray, as we know, this is kind of famous with Bill Murray these days, especially. I guess it kind of was starting at this point in his career after the hit like Ghostbusters. He was. He's very eclectic and hard to get a hold of because he kind of works. It's hard to describe, but he kind of fates himself into work because basically he doesn't have any contact number. See, if you wanted to get Bill Murray in a movie, you can't just call him. You have to. It's like a weird thing where he has to somehow find you to be in a movie.
Oh God.
I'm not making this up. It's like a real thing. Bill Murray has a thing where you can't. That's why he was. I want to say he was offered Buzz Lightyear back in the day, but again, it was so hard to get in contact with him. That's why he wasn't really in the running for that.
And of course, unless your last name is Cohen, if your last name is Cohen, then he's just gonna just jump on board with you immediately.
That's what I'm saying. Unless it's through an extraordinary circumstance, Bill Murray's usually the guy who's going to contact you and find you. And Tiki, you heard about. I learned about a lot of this through Hollywood Babylon because they also are kind of fellow Bilbos like ourselves, and they've kind of pointed. Bill Murray kind of likes the crash weddings a lot of the time. He kind of Bill Murray's himself, and he just kind of shows up, and not just weddings, but he'll show up at a wedding. He'll show up just kind of almost like photobombing. People will show up and just kind of enrich people's lives just being Bill Murray hanging around.
Oh, yeah, he will. And the best part about it is that he has a tagline, Dragon. Do you know what that tagline is?
What's the tagline? Remind me.
Okay, he'll basically troll people, right? He'll show up uninvited. He'll troll people, and then he'll look at them dead in the face, and this is 100% true. He'll say, and no one will ever believe you.
Right. That's the
so amazing.
Tiki, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. That's the one.
I love that so much.
So my point is, that's kind of this. I theorize that this might be the start of that sort of thing. Bill Murray's kind of takes a few years off, and I don't know if there were any unsuccessful movies after Ghostbusters that maybe discouraged them a little bit. The point is, it was just the kind of the random Bill Murray roles kind of tie into that. So anyway, so he goes in this kind of sabbatical, and this sabbatical that Bill Murray not being in movies for a while, it really made him more valuable. It gave his name more kind of cachet, let's say, because again, Bill Murray, oh my God, we love that movie, that famous movie he did, and then now it's just kind of years have passed. If the minute he shows up for a role, people are going to clamor to the theater because all the good Bill Murray kind of will. It's been kind of drawn to people.
Right, right.
So that really helped make this movie more successful. It's Bill Murray back. He's back after 4 long years.
Mhm.
And Bill Murray, the elements of this movie he really championed. He championed the love story. He championed making Frank Cross like really unlikable at the start. Of course, the director of the piece, Richard Donner, he also had a lot of cachet in that he was able to get kind of the big cast, the big supporting cast. That was all Donner having a lot of goodwill in the community of Hollywood, of course, Superman onwards, and Richard Donner especially, getting big names like. Like Robert Mitchum, for example. We'll get into that later. Getting Robert Mitchum into like a supporting role. Again, these are huge names, and he uses a lot of familiar players from the other movies. We'll get to that. Now, famously, I guess the big point to his, famously, Bill Murray and Richard Donner kind of butted heads on this movie.
Yeah, big time.
Not aggressively, at least that's the way. Donner has a more fond recollection of it, so it's kind of hard to tell. Donner's a nice guy.
With Bill Murray, it was very much like he's still disappointed with how it turned out. Apparently Richard Donner just wanted Bill Murray to go louder and louder with his performance, and that was what was really the clashing point between them.
And I'll say that rewatching this movie, knowing that information makes it a little more interesting. I want to say that.
Oh, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff with this movie, that like everything with Carol Kane, I'll say.
Sure. And we'll highlight that as we go. And basically, I would summarize that I think Bill Murray thought Donner kind of pushed him to go too big and over the top a little too much.
And I will say, it's like I feel like Bill Murray championing for like the kind of a slightly more gentle edge while still making the character a jerk. Like that's probably the thing in the movie, like in the movie's DNA, that kind of like fixes the tone issue that might have come about otherwise.
Basically, we get to see some. I can't remember the year it came out. It might have come out before
88.
this. No, I know what year this came out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Groundhog Day. Knowing Groundhog Day came out, was that 84?
Not off the top of my head. I could look.
That's the thing. Groundhog Day, because I think there's a lot of Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, for the record, that's still my favorite Bill Murray movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like kind of the great, well-rounded Bill Murray performance in Groundhog Day is. I think that's kind of what we
looking it up right now. Groundhog Day came out. Oh wow, Groundhog Day was until 1993.
Ooh, 90. Really?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Well, okay. Let me say this. So again, the quality we have there, you're talking about with kind of what Murray does in those moments. I know exactly those moments you're talking about. I can't wait to get to them. Those moments I feel were kind of, they had their beginnings here, and then they kind of got into like a full film with Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So in the end, the end result was very memorable and definitely a go-to for the holidays, especially amongst Christmas carols and Scrooge adaptations.
I mean, I'd say this Muppet Christmas Carol and like, I don't know, like maybe the George C. Scott version. Like it's really this and Muppet Christmas Carol.
I'm gonna say the original Alistair Sim version. That's a historic version.
There's a lot of Christmas carols. Let's be honest.
I'm saying we have that in this movie too. So I'm gonna say Alistair Sim. That one.
Oh. Okay. So folks, we're going to do this as a commentary, but you don't have to watch the movie.
Oh wait. I'm sorry, it's really important. I gotta say this because we're doing commentary. So famously, last bit of background. Famously, this thing was supposed to get a really great bells and whistles DVD release back in the day. And it was going to have commentary, it was going to have all sorts of making of features, and famously, and I finally got a copy of it this season because I watched it like on Netflix beforehand, and now it's no longer on Netflix. I had to get it. And yes, and anyway, so I found out. Well, again, it's a good movie, so it's not. But the thing I'm still disappointed by, I'm sure a lot of other people are disappointed by, is the fact that they were, even when they re-released when they released it as a Blu-ray after many years, still the same, no features except the trailer whatsoever.
Dragon, I honestly, like, in terms of the commentary, I have a feeling that because Bill Murray is like personally unhappy with this movie, that's probably the reason why there's not a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Sure.
I'm just saying, like, at the point it was announced they were going to do this, and then they didn't. So I think that's very interesting. That's the reason, like, people expect.
Maybe they just couldn't get Bill Murray on board. Maybe they weren't intending to get him on board.
It was supposed to be Donner doing the commentary, but maybe Bill Murray, he vetoed that. So that's
right.
The The point is, it's been a coveted commentary, and folks, because we love you, because it's the holiday season, we're gonna give that to you.
Aren't
you
we
know
nice?
why? Yes, you know why? Because we want to give you that holiday feeling, and you should take that holiday feeling and should have it all year round. Anyway, I'm jumping to the yes. Give him the thing.
Yeah. Okay, the thing. Yes. So, folks, we will be doing this as a commentary, but you do not have to watch the movie to watch along with us. Just, we'll simply be talking about it as if it's just a podcast, kind of using the commentary as, kind of using the film as sort of jumping off points with the conversation. But if you do want to watch along with us, go ahead and get your copy of the film, set it to timestamp 00. I will go ahead and, Drake, it's been a hot minute since we've done one of these. Remind me, do we count up or count down?
Well, it's appropriate because this is pulling from a Richard Donner film. We go on go.
Yeah, I know we go on
go.
Go, but do we count 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. All right, so folks, when I say go, that is your cue. Press play. Like I said, we'll do our level best to, to make it so that you don't have to listen. You don't have to watch the comedy. You get the idea. All right, so Scrooged in 1, 2, 3, go. Right off the bat, you get that great Danny Elfman music.
Yep. Of course, this is it predates 89 by a year.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you have the Elfman choir.
I feel like this theme and John Williams' Home Alone theme are kind of like they're both very similar to each other. You know what I mean? They're kind of like a yin yang to each other.
I gotta tell you, there are times with Elfman's theme playing, it kind of makes me for a moment wonder if it's a Tim Burton film, just for a moment, especially when we get to the dark kind of ghost stuff,
This feels like it could have been a Tim Burton film. It really does. Not so much, like you said, Dragon, not so much with like the, it's a TV station, he's being a jerky boss. But very much in the, all the ghost stuff is very much Christmas. And even this opening, Dragon, how good is this opening scene?
It is a great opening, and again, I have a few moments throughout this film. This is one of those where I say, this is why you get.
Because at first you're thinking, like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? There's actual elves in this movie.
Exactly.
Again, in this movie.
Now, Richard Donner, he has a lot of TV experience, so that I feel that's an undercurrent within the film of like that's why he kind of shoots in such honesty about doing like this live, TV production as well as kind of these kind of over the top shows. And of course, the action background along with the TV experience, I think, plays into that, showing that in the movie. Again, North Pole with guns, and again, it's like we're in the middle of.
I love the shot of Mrs. Claus, just like, here, everyone grab a gun.
My favorite line coming up is from Santa, where Lee Majors say, "No, Santa, you're far too important. You get out of here. I'll handle him." And Santa says, "Lee, you've been a really good boy this year. You've been awfully good. You've been an awfully good boy this year, Lee." It cracks me up.
All right, Dragon, I hate to say this, but my copy's kind of buffering on me, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find another one, but just keep at it, and then once I find another copy, hopefully I can just sync up with the timestamp.
Right.
Sorry about that.
So right now we're transitioning to the boardroom right now. Of course, there's I can only Lee Majors with a Gatling gun. The night the reindeer died. That cracks me up. What cracks me up even more because I love Robert Goulet. We have Robert Goulet, a Cajun Christmas with Bob Goulet.
Oh God, right. I love the random shot of the alligator just so you know it's Cajun.
Yeah, I just love the fact that he's put off by it because he's afraid he's going to be eaten by this thing any minute. knowing Frank Cross, it actually might be a real alligator.
Now you know what that is a down home Cajun Christmas. The fear of being eaten by alligators, Dragon. It's the little things that count, right?
Now we have Father Loves Beaver here, and the Father Loves Beaver. I gotta say again, you have that pun right there. But what's so great about that too is that one. It's the one I love throughout this film. The rewatch is really appeal.
Jumps out. Freaking rent this from Amazon. I think I'm gonna have to rent this from Amazon.
What really sticks out to me on the rewatch is the fact that the fact that What was it? Oh yes, the fact that there's an emphasis on TV, and we get to see in Frank's background. It's kind of a foreshadow here, and we have thematically the importance of TV in Frank's life. So again, we have this kind of kind of Leave It to Beaver style, like an old show being brought back, but with kind of a cynical edge to it. So we have that humor kind of throughout the movie, like that here. Now we have the big the Scrooge promo playing right now with the great John Houseman, the man who trained Kevin Conroy in how to act. By the way.
All right, Drake. Just so you know, I'm just going to order the movie on Amazon, and so I'm processing that. So that'll be that. Like the Amazon player is very reliable. So just in a moment, I'll be able to catch up with the film.
Okay, so yes, the great John Houseman. Of course, this leads to another one of my favorite lines in the movie by Bill Murray. Honestly, if I had to pick one, I love the delivery on it, where Bill Murray says, "You have America's favorite old fart, reading a book." I just love the emphasis on reading a book. I have to kill all of you. It's silly. We have a number of familiar faces, not just from the from the Richard Donner films of past, but we also have, because he used numbers, basically a number of Lethal Weapon players are in this film.
I'm sorry. Just what's the timestamp?
It's about to be. I'll tell you when it's 5. 5 minutes now.
Damn. Well, I was on 4:47, so hold on. I'm just going to fast forward to 6 minutes. You tell me when it's 6 minutes, okay?
All right. Yes. Now I have to kill all of you. He's having a great time. Bill Murray's on in the room here, so it's kind of how he does best. Yes. He's like you.
Just going off on a tangent about like just what it means. Like he just has this weird idea in his head, this like kind of shrewd business practice. Okay, Dragon, tell me when it's 6 minutes 5 seconds. Okay.
All right, I'm waiting. Vamp.
Okay, 6 minutes 5 seconds. Okay. So yeah, he's just kind of got this shrewd idea of like, well, just shock the audience. I don't care if it's a Christmas special. Shocking publicity is the best publicity. God damn it. Yeah, which of course winds its way throughout the whole movie as we see, the the whole subplot. We see the little lady like dying from. Okay, fuck.
The laughing guy.
Okay. Well, we might have to sync it up again later, but I don't know.
I love the bank of televisions where you have all these other Christmas specials are playing, like the Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol is playing on like the one I think next to. If it's not playing now, it's playing later. The point is I have all these different Christmas specials playing on the background. Again, the emphasis on the TV, and again, I just love thematically like how that kind of plays into the front. As I mentioned earlier on, and of course here we have the very intense promos. So promo for Scrooge, but the one that literally kills a poor old woman later on.
And I just love how we're kind of jumping ahead here, but I love how happy he is about the woman being killed. Like it's the best news of his freaking day.
He's like literally. He's like the anti Jimmy McGill. He's the enemy to the elderly.
Oh God.
So yes, we have a number of good actors here, like Elliot Laddermilk, played by the great Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh God, how good is he?
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. What I love, and that kind of occurred to me, is that while the ending of his arc is a little like there's a little bit of Cratchit in it, but for the most part, he's Boy. He's Boy from Christmas Carol. You boy. You boy. Boy, what day is it? That's the kid's name. It's Boy. You there, Boy.
I love that.
So Elliot essentially is Boy.
Oh man! Now I'm just picturing Elliot Alderson in this role. Frank, I think that this isn't such a good idea. I can't do a good Elliot Alderson. I don't know. Anyways.
Anyway, let's see. So, but yeah, man, I like that he looks like it's kind of a misdirect of a Bob Cratchit type. Even though again he does turn out to be Boy, even though he is very much designed.
Well, he's very much kind of like the anti Bob Cratchit, right? Because he does not take his boss's shit whatsoever.
No, but he does have to be built up there, and kind of like the Boy, in certain versions, like the Bean Bunny version from Up the Christmas Carol. He's very much, oddly enough, he's very much like that one that we see him a couple times being kind of he's poor in the street and he's shivering. We check in with them here and there, where in the some of the takes, like Scrooge calls a cop on the kid, and that's kind of, again, that's pretty much what kind of happens here. We kind of kick the boy while he's down.
Right.
And
of course, we have the runner with this character with constantly just all he wants to do, Dragon. All he wants to do is just down his sorrows, just drown his sorrows in a bottle, and Frank won't even give him that.
The quote. He wants to be blind, stinking drunk.
Or he wants to be blind Matt Murdock.
Speaking of blind Matt Murdock, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that, Grace, who is the actual Bob Cratchit of this film, is portrayed by Alfred Woodard from, of course, Luke Cage.
Of course. Dre, I will say this character is kind of like where the childhood trauma comes into play with the Calvin character.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, that scene towards the end with Calvin is so depressing. It's literally just like I never wanted to watch the movie after that because it was just it's such a bummer.
Yeah, I thought it was the burning alive that traumatized you.
It's funny, Drag. The burning alive, I feel like I kind of just like almost like blocked that out of my head because it was so traumatizing.
Right. Again, this is cruel here. Like the whole fire him within 5 minutes, and it's like a game to Frank. That's just
right.
So on the whole, I want to mention this right at the gate so we can make sure we get this in there. I appreciate the fresh take on all this. Again, initially, years later, I was kind of having the problem. I was very skeptical then. That was kind of foolish in those days, kind of like Scrooge himself, a little foolish. But seeing, again, we know that story like the back of our hand, so it's kind of neat to see kind of an invention that is, kind of parallels, Christmas Carol, but of course it doesn't follow. It's more. It shows the power of a not straightforward adaptation of A Christmas Carol. We can just kind of, we can approximate kind of what we know is going to happen. And of course, we reach at a point in this movie, especially within the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie. Well, we finished. We don't know what's going to happen next. He's not a money lender in a small town. We don't know what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that we can go into an adaptation of this and not know what's going to happen. It's invigorating.
Yeah, sure. And I also love the fact that they're doing their own adaptation of A Christmas Carol throughout the movie.
Yeah, and
of course,
this
is a very meta movie before meta was even a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course, here we have the great Robert Mitchum, of course, very famous actor that Richard Donner convinced to do this because again, usually he wouldn't do a movie unless he was the lead. In this case, is one of the rare times I'll say, Robert Mitchum has played a supporting character. Again, all thanks to the great Richard Donner.
And he's got a really good arc too. Everyone in this movie has got, they all have a transformation.
Yeah, the writers on this movie predominantly came from, I think Richard Donner, he brought as I mentioned, he brings experience with the network, kind of the network notes. He would probably get ridiculous notes. And I feel it's I want to say it's a meld of Donner's experience with the writers. And the writers, I think, did tremendously well. So you have SNL writers and we have National Lampoon writers working on this movie. And they really struck a balance of they approximated what the future of ridiculous network notes would be. The Robert Mitchum character, and I feel it's kind of stemming from a dissatisfaction Donner has in the medium of television, mixed with just them working in television, just saying, okay, we want pets will be watching TV in the future, and that's what it's
right. Okay, look, it doesn't have to be animal centric, but just a little animal mention, just tweak it.
Can we do a Kojak thing, but instead of a lollipop, he's dangling string? It's just hilarious to me, man. I just love that. I think it's just that smart kind of satirical writing of what network executives more to the end. Again, it's a very slim margin what network executives to a more ridiculous degree would be, but I think it's a fun approximation.
And of course, as the movie goes on, we see kind of all these things having to be implemented into the special.
Yeah, the dormouse.
Just just staple the antlers on. He'll be fine.
Sure, and. Yeah, another thing I suppose is that so Bill Murray again. Right now, I think Bill Murray wants to play this movie like Groundhog's Day. But remind it's in the future. Just go with me on it. He wants to play kind of the wisecrack. Find a Peter Venkman thing. He wants to play kind of a wisecrack and he wants to play the quiet comedy. Bill Murray's fantastic at kind of the quiet.
Right. Kind of almost kind of like the Wes Anderson style comedy.
Yeah, it's like verbal, like the witty verbal dialogue. That's
Uh-huh.
like Bill Murray's like the guy like he'll whisper insults on your breath, and again, he's doing that through Robert Mitchum the whole scene there, and he's really
Whereas
fun.
Richard Donner definitely has a different version of what this character is, which is, as we said, very loud, very aggressive.
Well, what I would honestly, what I think might have happened is that Bill Murray, at times he would do stuff like that. I just feel when he did that, is Richard Donner said, "Okay, let's go with that. Let's just push that." Because again, things are getting crazy. They'll complement the insane visuals we have here by you going, as the film progresses, you get more and more kind of
And so
crazy
Bill
over the
Murray
top.
probably like regretted like going into that performance to begin with. You know what I mean?
And
And
again, no
things
one's
like
the bad guy in this situation, folks. It's just again like two
no,
conflicting.
especially because it's a damn good movie at the end of the day, no matter what Bill Murray feels about it, you know.
But I will say this: looking back on it, and I'm not taking anything away from it whatsoever. Here, I'm just saying that I will say this: I think in places the quieter approach. I'm saying he does go maybe a little too big, too often. I'll say that much.
I
I can
feel like
see.
the bigness though, like it works for the character, especially because of how this arc eventually gets resolved. You know what I mean? With a big, like, over the top speech right at the end.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, of course, that's what justifies at the end of the day, and you're right. But what I'll say is, there's one scene in this movie, Tiki, that I'll say, with the background in mind, rewatching it, I will say I feel we don't need a scene, this scene, basically the restaurant scene. When we get to the restaurant scene, in retrospect, I don't think we need that.
Really, I like the restaurant
No,
scene. I
I
thought it was
like it.
really
I like it,
entertaining.
but I'm just saying that feels like that feels like we're just going over the top just for fun. It doesn't feel like necessary, but we'll get there.
Where it's not really like it's not. You could probably cut it out.
Yeah, I'm saying it's fine. It's cool. It's just
It's
like
a good build up to the ghosts.
that's what I'm saying. It just feels like build up. Well, we'll get again. We're jumping a little ahead here. So
Yeah.
but let's talk about.
And I mean, that's another
Let's,
thing that this movie just does expertly well, I think, is, kind of like having the ghost, but having it be like during a day instead of during a night. Like, that's super
yeah.
clever.
The timeline's great. How we kind of go throughout the day of Christmas
Right,
instead of
right.
just doing it all at night.
Like, instead of basically it being like, oh, it was all a dream.
Yeah, I mean, I love how the ghosts are actually real in this movie. That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Let's talk about Frank's brother.
Of course, Bill Murray's brother in real life.
Yes.
There's a
Uh,
couple other Murrays in this, right?
yeah, they have all three brothers. At least
Uh-huh.
I don't know how many brothers he has. At least three of the Bill Murray brothers are in this.
One of them's just a cameo, I think.
Well, no, he's in a scene. He's in a scene though, and he comes back in the scene, so he's there. You know, doesn't have a name, but he's there.
Hmm.
We just took this is a fun transition. This kind of reminds me of Heart of Ice for a moment here, where we're gonna with the humanitarian gag, where we have such a cruel man, like he steals an old woman's cab, and then he's accepting humanitarian award.
Right, right. Yeah, like I said, it's like that. I feel like I don't know. What do you think? Do they make him too much of a jerk at the beginning? I've
See,
heard that criticism.
that's what I'm saying. I feel I don't mind basically because we find out classically in the Scrooge story we find out like what led him to this, and that's the thing we build up like we make him so unlikable and makes you really wonder. That's the effect that I mean. It makes you wonder how the heck did he get this bad? How could he have
It's interesting, Track, because that's one of those things that that Donner and Murray could never agree on was how to handle the backstory with the parents, and so that's why we only really get one scene with the parents.
that makes
I feel like the character could have been more fleshed out had we had more with his family.
hmm.
I'm not saying he's not fleshed out. I'm just saying, like, like we could understand why he's such an asshole at the
I'll say
start of
this.
the film.
I could see room for one scene. I couldn't see more than that honestly, for us missing anything with the backstories. I think there's enough there, but I could see like at least another scene of like mainly with the father. We need more with the father.
That's what I'm saying. We get the mother element of it, and it's an effective scene, but we just have nothing with the father.
I'll give you that. Maybe like at least one scene more could have.
And I feel like that's one of those things that Murray and Donner probably disagreed with was the direction of the, where to take that particular
One of the
element
big
of the
things
story.
Bill Murray hated in this movie, from what I understand, is that he hated working like Donner. You got to remember, folks, this is, of course, in the 80s, where smoking was still really big. And there's point is there's a lot of smoke, a lot of clutter, a lot of fake snow, and Bill Murray he really they're like working in that environment. It's like really, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, the fake snow. Yeah, he would be like coughing up blood on a pretty routine basis.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I could buy that. I've never had to work with fake snow, so I don't. Well, I mean, fake snow, it's like falling around me every
The closest I've been to fake snow is like the fake snow that they do during Disney fireworks.
Oh, here's a running gag I really like. I love the tab. Now, you notice this is funny. He pours tab, and it's like he has a mixed drink of tab and vodka, which, of course, the ultimate 80s beverage, tab. But, but no, seriously, you'll notice. Here's what he pours tab, and then he pours a little bit of vodka, and that's the mix. But you'll notice as the film goes on, he's pouring less and less tab in there because he needs more of a
yeah, I did notice that. That's a fun gag.
Yeah, it's again, we have fun payoffs like that, like subtle payoffs throughout the film. Of course, in his drawer, he has Scrooge and a handgun.
Now, one of the things that's really impressive about this film is just the pacing of it. I think unlike Die Hard, I think the pacing is really, really on point. This movie is just as long as it needs to be.
Yes. Of course, we have Lou Hayward. Oh boy, Lou Hayward. This is a cool reinvention on Jacob Marley, I guess. Because again, we kind of pull from the what is it, like American Werewolf in London, where we have the decomposing buddy.
Yeah.
Kind of pull from that. I forget.
That's another Dahmer movie, right?
No, that's John Landis.
Oh,
I don't know
right. I'm sorry.
I don't know if they had the same effects guy because his name escapes me, but I mean, they have a really good effects guy on this movie. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Donner's kind of production quality and the value. Like Donner attracts the best people in the business, and you have that exemplified in kind of the effects and the build up and the filming all throughout this film.
Right, like at the very least, the ghosts in this movie are just super imaginative.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when we have like a Looney Tune, we have a Looney Tunes effect realized. He's shot him a bunch of times. He's drinking it, and of course, the drink's pouring out of him. It's like Looney Tune effect realized.
I always associate that with Pirates of the Caribbean. The moment in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride where the skeleton's drinking the whiskey and the drinks like going down his rib cage.
What's kind of neat is that in all these adaptations of Christmas Carol, we always have these, like how far we're going to go with making the ghosts scary. Sometimes they're ghosts, sometimes your favorite characters is ghost, and like I think the two most prominent examples, Christmas Carol, the Disney's Christmas Carol, they really emphasized the scary. They tried to adapt the book to the letter as much as they
Disney's Christmas Carol, the Jim Carrey version, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's by far one of the darkest Christmas Carol adaptations. It's shockingly dark.
And that's what I'm saying. But here, like a lot of places in here, you have that darkness. But again, it's reinvented. But it's kind of.
I feel like here it's like with Carol Kane, there's an element of darkness brought on by real life that we'll get to.
Yeah.
But with the other two ghosts, I feel like it's more in line where, and this guy too included, I feel like it's more in line where their designs are creepy, but their actual personalities are kind of warm.
Let me say this again. One thing I love the design of a lot of these guys. I think they're really interesting designs. They're really fun designs. And with Lou Hayward, I love with this Jacob Marley type, the fact, he dies as kind of the golfing executive, where, again, Marley, when we see him, he's the money lender who affords the chains in life. He's weighed down by his greed and all that stuff. And in this case, Hayward, he's an executive who can't be bothered by people. So he's on the golf course, and that's probably where he died.
You're right.
So I love that just worked into his life. He carries not an oxygen tank. He carries a bag of golf clubs. That's awesome.
And now I'm just thinking that Howard Hamlin would fit into this movie like a damn glove. Or at least just Patrick Fabian in a supporting role somewhere.
See, instead of putting Tab in with his drink, he would just have...
Wait, no. I know who Fabian would play, Dragon. I know who Fabian would play.
Who would Fabian play?
Okay, I forget the name of the character. You'll have to remind me of the name of the character. But basically the guy who's trying to take Bill Murray's job.
Oh, yes, Bryce. He would play Bryce Cummings.
Yes, right?
And
isn't that a total Patrick Fabian role?
We talked over him before. We'll get there. I love that actor. We'll get to you. I know that actor, and he's also in Gremlins 2, and in a really fun role. So we'll get there. But yes, again, this is all very terrifying. Right, what we're seeing. The musculature is ripping off in the corpsey arm, and the effects work is amazing. He's putting his hand through the plexiglass, I guess, and he's kind of falling to his demise here. And again, we show that the ghosts do actually exist. It's not just him going crazy here. It's not a dream, but again, because the day goes on, the number is being dialed. What's cool about that, of doing that, Tiki, is the fact that the ghosts put story elements into play. Like they put, Claire being called. Claire is called, and she is on the table. And that's one of my favorite elements of this movie. I love the fact that, Scrooge. I mean, I know it's part of the story, but I was always bugging me. Scrooge never got a chance to kind of reconnect with the girl. Never got a chance to reconnect with Belle or Alice or however. They change the name sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
With the girl in this case, he actually has a shot at it.
One Belle song from Muppet Christmas Carol is like easily the worst moment in that film.
Well, again, they cut it after the main release date, so I think.
Yeah, I know, but when I watched it with Dave Goelz, it was there, and I was like, I love you, Dave Goelz, but this is painful to sit through.
Anyway, you see my point. The fact that we're working kind of that character into a prominent role in this film, that was a clever part of the reinvention. I really liked.
Mm-hmm. No, Claire, I'm kind of just waiting for Karen Allen to show up before we talk about Claire fully.
She's so unpleasant, that Karen Allen.
It's wonderful to see Karen Allen again, just of course because her iconic role as Raiders, and it's just wonderful to see her in another movie with that big of a role.
Oh yeah.
I love the physicality of this bouncy golf ball.
Oh yeah. By the way, just to address it, because we have the towel being called back to is like this is her Christmas bonus. Just the towel in the VHS thing. It has a surprisingly emotional payoff with Frank's brother. I really like that. It just turned to it started as this kind of this inconsequential, like going through all the names of like VCR, towel. Is just so cheap, and we're showing kind of how frugal he is.
Jury duty, junk mail.
Pink slip, eviction notice. Okay. Oh, this poor Calvin.
Drake, let's just address this. Take
it. This is mutism done right. This is
yes. Thank you. Exactly.
That's I meant to. I'm sorry, you're jumping ahead. I was going to talk about that later, but it's done right with Calvin here. Yes.
And I feel, of course, because we've come a long way in terms of like our research with autism. Like I feel like with Calvin, the way that they describe it, it's not necessarily autism.
It's not Tiki. It's not autism. It's purely trauma.
Right. And also, it's the fact that he's not like he's acting like a normal kid, right? Like he doesn't have behavioral issues. It's just the fact that he can't speak.
Most likely, I would say the kid's like 6 or 7, so probably at the age of 2, he saw his father killed, and when he was like learning how to speak, and just stopped speaking. That's my approximation.
So yeah, you're dragging every issue I had with the way that El Camino Christmas handled the whole Butte issue.
Because they named it, they linked it to something, and they linked it to something important. Where in this case,
of course.
Yeah, the point is they.
I mean, to tell you the truth, even if they did directly link it to autism, which I know they didn't, but even if they hypothetically did, I feel like this movie handles it in a classier way than El Camino did.
Right. Sure. Now, again, I think it's not the best thing to compare, but I mean, I see your point. She already passed, but again, the Mary Ellen Trainor was the executive who had an implied relationship with Frank, but we never do anything with that.
Right.
But Mary Ellen Trainor, she was the psychologist. She was the shrink at the Lethal Weapon. That Martin Riggs always messed with. And of course, right here, this is funny. This reminded me of Freakazoid because you have this running gag with the network censor who is, she's constantly, we just torture the poor network censor every which way in this film, but physically abusing her. And it's very much like in Freakazoid, we had the network censor that Paul Rudd did the voice, or I'm the network censor and you have to change that. And they drop an anvil on her head and everything. It's going to remind me of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this girl, Dragon, I don't just think Norman Bates would call her a nice girl. I think that he'd be tripping over himself to describe her. Oh, she's such a wonderful girl, Mother. She's so kind and so pleasant, and yes, dare I say, nice.
It was kind of funny.
I know that word is cursed, Mother, but you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's a nice girl.
It's funny. We had a vague Psycho reference at the beginning of this where he's saying, I'm going to kill all of you. He says, forgive me, Mother. You to the wall, kind of Psycho.
Right.
Yes, so Karen Allen as Claire, she's the she's the X factor of what if Belle was a viable option, of what if the girl was a viable option for the plot, and I think it works tremendously well.
I would say like easily out of all the Christmas carols, easily the best love interest.
Absolutely.
Of course, I love that she's a charity worker. That that of course.
That's a deep cut, actually. To at least the I don't know if it's if it's from the book or not, but I know in the Alistair Sim movie that's from that movie where she the love again. It was Allison and Alice in that one. She we checked in with her during the present, and we saw she was working she was helping the homeless, or she was working like a relief effort of some kind.
Yeah, that's just like I said, that's really nice on kind of a on a
Yeah,
thematic level.
yeah, man, it's cool. Yeah. Yes, here we have this. I love this kind-hearted, crewman right here.
Uh-huh.
It's like I wouldn't do anything to harm this poor little creature. So nice.
I love how Frank is just like he doesn't even get that stapling antlers to a mouse is bad. Like he's that disconnected that it's just like a perfectly legitimate, viable option.
Yep.
I tell you, Dragon, I think Frank probably worked with Disney on the True Life Adventures before coming over to this TV station.
So yeah, speaking of that with Frank here. Now Frank, no, not the Frank from Osmosis. I just want to get that joke in there.
Oh God! Oh my God! You're right. Oh Jesus! I
see,
never
here's what
made that
actually
before.
And you see what happened is after the 80s, the 90s, and that's no, because the mother's we have the mother's name. The mother's name's Peg in Osmosis. So I was going to connect the movies, but it won't work.
God.
Or maybe he left her for a woman named Peg, and then that okay now. Big
and now I'm just going to connect it to Alfred's Peg from Batman and Robin.
God. Anyway. Oh, by the way, what do you feel about Frank's introduction to Calvin there? Because I felt it was a little forced.
I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, because it comes in later, it comes back perfectly.
Truth, I feel like it would have been more effective if, like, the first time he saw him was, or I'm sorry, like when he sees him, during the whole Ghost of Christmas thing. Like, if that would have been the first time he saw him, because of course he's heard the name Calvin, of course he knows of the kid.
Yeah, I think the picture on the wall. Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm just one of
okay, the hammering thing to me, Dragon, that's an example of Bill Murray just being loud for the sake of being loud.
But like, also,
the gag is it's really repetitive. It drags.
Yeah, honestly, you just feel like unnecessary gaily. Why wouldn't they stop the first time the big boss told them to stop?
Exactly, right.
Yeah,
I can probably and also this is a set piece with a fake snow, so Bill Murray probably hated this moment, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, again, I think the more the over the top silly stuff later on, but yeah, I could see this along with that, sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what was I getting at with Bill Murray? Oh yes, Frank. Yeah, so I mean, what's kind of cool, and we see this especially when he visits her at the shelter, Operation Rescue or Operation Help. We'll get there. The rescue operation. I like that. He wants the girl. He wants the girl, and but it's a progression. He hasn't quite earned her yet, and
right.
Doesn't he's still very much. He's nice to her, but he's still miserable to everyone else, and that shows.
Exactly.
I like that's not like an easy fix. Okay, she's back in his life, problem solved. Not whatsoever. He's the man.
Yeah, that's refreshing. Yeah.
Of course, the networks, and of course he's like, oh, she's, every time she curses, and it's like just the opposite of a center of violence and cursing. It's just funny. She's very, of course, we see she's very sexually active later on.
Oh God.
That's the impact. That's the gag. It's the implication. So yeah, this scene right here is this scene. One, let me talk about Bryce here, really, because it's about to show up. Bryce, I love the actor who plays Bryce. He's John Glover. Now, John Glover is best known as Lionel Luthor from Smallville. I know him as he was the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series. Didn't show up often, but he was great when he showed up. And I think collectively we all know him from Gremlins 2. And he's a lot of fun in Gremlins 2. He's the nice boss in Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm.
And John Glover here plays Bryce Cummings, and basically kind of encapsulates what John Glover is, and that he plays him nice like that guy. That's the thing. Bryce Cummings is such a
very fake nice. You know what I mean? He plays fake nice. Though.
He's I think he's really good fake nice to the point where honestly he just seems really nice to me. But I get that he's angling for his job. He just seems he's doing it tremendously well.
Well, he's a good actor. Yeah.
I'm just saying. He may be buying into the con. That's what I'm saying. You know,
Right. Right.
well, the thing is, I can't make heads or tails if Bryce actually has designs. I mean, I assume he has designs, but he just seems like he's just a nice, helpful guy.
Well, I mean, we do see later on in the movie, he's like, he's very much wanting his position.
He just has like one line that alludes to him being like kind of sinister later on, where he says he's finished.
Right, right, exactly.
But I could see that if they ever remade this movie, yes, Patrick Fabian for.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, nice things out of the way there with Bryce Cons. Yeah, say this scene here. I'm not going to be mean to it or anything. I'm just saying honestly, the whole scene is fun, but it's not necessary. It's just what we're doing here, and what I think they're doing is, Frank said he has a lunch. He has a lunch date, so the first ghost is going to arrive at noon, and he's not going. He's not meeting the ghost, or he's not. The point is, whether he wants to or not, he's going to be compelled to meet this ghost. So that's why I think he's having these hallucinations. Because that's the main thing we get out of this scene is that whether he wants to or not, he's going to be compelled to kind of go on an adventure with these ghosts, and he can't. There's no way out of it. That's the main plot thing I can get out of this scene. Otherwise, it's just there to kind of light a fire.
I guess this is kind of also very much yelly, loud Bill Murray for the sake of being loud.
That's what I'm saying. That's why for me all that stuff I would equate just to the scene. I think we took it. I think maybe Bill Murray might be a little happier with it. I don't know.
There's just something about the physical comedy of him seeing the guy on fire, though. I don't know.
It is funny, but here's the thing that bugs me. Well, that is funny, but Frank Cross, I think he just let the guy burn. I don't buy that he put him out.
That's true. That's
what I'm saying. It's kind of a head
like he hasn't earned that much redemption yet. You know what I mean? It's very much a tightrope with him.
I mean, wouldn't you notice that no one else is putting the man out? I mean, it's not. I'm sorry, I was about to make a dark joke, but no, we can't.
Oh God.
Yes, no one's doing anything to help this poor guy.
Right.
It just feels kind of like it's kind of a thrown in there scene, just thrown to kind of spice up. Basically, it's the only time
I feel like what this scene accomplishes for the most part is just kind of like it establishes the rules of ghosts.
Yeah, but we do that so much better when we actually go into the past, though.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just saying it's a good setup for how the ghost will function.
Honestly, it feels like a tone thing, I guess, in that it's showing that, again, it's giving me a flavor of what's to come. Yes, I'll give you that. Yeah, it's a flavor of what's to come. It just feels like they just did it because for fun. Like, hey, we're having so much fun with these effects, and let's just have them hallucinate and do some cool kind of stuff. Like, let's shoot some cool stuff.
You know what, Dragon? I have a feeling that probably was a factor with this movie, is that they were having a lot of fun with the effects, and Bill Murray, I'm guessing that Bill Murray probably didn't want it to be so much of an effects movie.
Murray might not be an effects guy,
Right. I mean, it's hard to say because, I mean, some of the movies he's in are definitely effects movies.
I'm saying with the exception of Jungle Book, I can't really think of him doing
Ghostbusters, too.
To be fair, though, he's not really doing a lot of, the main effect is, using the proton pack. That's, the main effect he's working with there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I think his minimal effects thing, and this is there's a big effects movie for him. Maybe that kind of maybe at least the initial use of that threw him off a little, maybe. Anyway, so yes, we have the first. We have the Ghost Christmas Past.
I honestly think this is my favorite ghost.
He's really cool.
I mean, I love just. I love how the ghosts get progressively weirder in terms of design and in terms of personality.
Christmas Future in this movie, I really love Christmas Future in this movie, so we'll get there. But this is a second for me. I really love.
There's some supernatural stuff with this guy. Like he's got the smoke coming out of his ears.
I'll say this. He's
omnipresent.
I feel he's the most ghostly out of all of them. I'll say that much. He feels the most ghostly.
Randomly stealing Bobcat's liquor.
Bill Murray didn't like all the smoke in the cab, though. I know that much. He really didn't care for that. But I mean, honestly, though, I just will say this. I mean, I don't envy Bill Murray for having experienced this, all this smoke shooting this. But I got to tell you, the effect, though, it's cool because it's like a ghostly fog effect through a smoking cab driver, and it's filling the thing, and that's how you get kind of your ghostly effects through natural settings. So the whole design, like making your Ghost Christmas Past, a cab driver, and doing the whole, the fair being kind of your Back to the Future odometer almost, your readout.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I love those devices. It's a cool practical take on a ghost. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I love how gleeful this guy is throughout all his scenes. He's just like
Yeah.
he's having a ball. You know, this is going to sound like a really weird comparison because you haven't seen the movie yet, Dragon, but he's almost kind of got like a Bill Skarsgård Pennywise vibe to him, where it's just like, you know, it's like he's kind of a jerk, but he's having so much fun being a jerk.
I love the experience on where he says, "Hey, Attila the Hun, the first time he saw his mother, Niagara Falls. I've seen 100 times before. Niagara Falls." And again, I love my favorite device through this whole sequence of going through the past is that Frank is giving the orders in this, and that's what's cool. Frank is giving the orders like where to go, but the ghost controls the when.
Mhm.
So he says, "Take me back to my office." He goes gladly, goes to the office. And then of course we connect the moments from there. Okay, so we're we go from the dog barking foreplay to him as a dog, and we go all these.
Uh-huh.
So I love kind of that. I think really helps the pacing in a great way. Kind of gives us logical. I never have Ghost
Oh yeah,
101 here,
big
where
time, yeah.
it was some fun Ghost 101 here, where instead of Scrooge being able to pass through all the stuff and being unheard, he is unheard, but he is still solid. He cannot. One, he can't fly. Secondly, he cannot walk through solid objects. And again, this symbol here is just great. Again, Frank in front of the TV, and essentially the TV worked very much as a baser. He was distracting from his crappy life, and he was just kind of he was being sucked up into fiction, and therefore he had fictional expectations, which is kind of what has brought us. I think there's enough there to show how Frank got to where he is, but yes, a little bit more what the father would have helped. I think there's just enough there. There's enough there to still make it really interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. And again, it all tracks. Like, that's why he's so good at trivia later on. So it's all.
Now, of course, I do love the gag that, like, technically speaking, the gift that his father gives him is valuable.
Yes, but again, that's him just making an excuse for that's a prime cut of veal in this market today. And of course, this is Brian Doyle Murray, who was best known, at least for me, he's best known as Frank Shirley from Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He's also in the first National Lampoons, and of course he's Captain Knuckles from Misadventures of Flapjack.
Yeah.
Brian Doyle Murray, he gets around, that guy. A lot of times with a mustache.
Oh yeah.
And again, this is adorable here. This is
it really is. It really is.
Frankie Angel. Merry Christmas to you, Mama. And of course, there's a dark edge to it too, where she's smoking while she's pregnant, but at the same time, there's like a sweetness there.
So I feel like that kind of thing is like the example of the mixed tone done right.
Yeah, and of course, like, another thing is I like that we're keeping the brother in play here, even though the brother he's a fetus right now, but he's still in play.
Right.
Adorable little fetus Steve. Some would say the cutest fetus on the block. Okay, but yeah, this sequence is just I laugh so much at this sequence. It's the fact that I guess a part of me fears like one of these days I'll see you again, just knowing the stuff I know. Maybe one of these I'll lose. In my senile years, maybe I'll only be able to remember the fictional stuff. But
God.
It's hilarious here how his memories of his past, because he was so indoctrinated by the television or fictional events,
right.
like Little House on the Prairie.
You know what it reminds me of, Dragon? It's very Star-Lord-esque.
Yeah, like a little, yeah. Of course,
kind of like basing your whole personality on like pop culture.
Yeah, I think the one that cracks me up most is that was the kid from the courtship of Eddie's father. And to make it linear, folks, of that reference, of course, Bill Bixby, who played the Incredible Hulk, was in that.
I love how specific he gets with the Little House thing.
Yep, the Homecoming episode.
Yeah, that was the Homecoming episode of Little House. Yeah, that was the Homecoming episode of Little House. I love how he does it. I love how they even use like the abbreviation of Little House. They just call it Little House, not Little House on the Prairie. That cracks me up.
Now, Tiki, if that heart shape doesn't say "I love Christmas," I don't know what does.
God.
Oh yes, and this is kind of neat. And it's kind of pulling from the original source here. We have to show that Scrooge and company are younger, and here it's Scrooge. He's got the longer mane. Sorry, Frank has
I
the
imagine
longer.
this is very much what Bill Murray looked like at the start of his career.
Yeah, sometimes he has a mustache, but it's about the same.
Uh,
That's roughly, yeah. It's about the same. I've seen older stuff with the National Lampoons and Saturday Night Live years of Bill Murray. It's been about the same.
right, right. Kind of like how Robin Williams first started with the, of course, the tie-dye overalls and whatnot.
Yeah, the rainbow suspenders.
Right, right.
Of course, here we have again the importance of Chinese food.
Oh yeah, big simple.
And again, this might be again like I don't know. I think this is like Bill. It's probably where Bill Murray started doing the thing. And then I got it because it feels like a natural Bill Murray. Like I was out of my mind. I don't know. That means it's got like no, not that one, Frankie. Not that one. This one. Not the girl with the heart-shaped fanny. No.
God.
Oh yes, we have the wonderful, the nice girl, Claire. And I love this.
Such a nice girl, mother.
This is such a cutesy origin of Lumpy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Got me here, got me back here. Again, this is a charm. These are the scenes I'm sure Bill Murray lived for. Here's the whole.
Oh yeah. I probably think Bill Murray probably wishes there was more of these types of scenes.
Well, again, I know the whole love story, all the Claire stuff. That's all Bill Murray, and that was all his idea in this movie.
Right.
Basically, make into a less than like a one-off like plot fixture, make her into an actual kind of make her into a character that was tied.
Yeah, sure.
Which is a really smart call.
And Karen Allen is just giving a great performance too, because of course we're all obviously Karen Allen, Indiana Jones, like the main thing you think of when you think of her, but she's so much more sweet and loving than she is as Marion in this movie.
Yeah,
it's just like she kind of transforms herself in a way from her usual. Like, I'm just saying, I know it's unfair to typecast her off of one performance. Let's face it, when we think Karen Allen, we think Marion Crane.
Well, I mean, also
what I should say.
There is a select. There is a not Marion. There is a select amount of people who do know her.
When I think Marion Crane, oh yeah, I think Rihanna.
I can't remember if it was a big break or not, but Karen Allen, she was in Animal House. I don't know if that was her first movie or not, but that was like what people knew her.
It could be. I want to say it was.
The point is that's another big thing people knew her from, and of course, just to kind of relate to the scene we're seeing unfold before us here, I guess people knew her from Animal House for that reason too.
Right.
Yep, for that. I'll keep it classy here. Let's not get that. Anyway, yes. So again, it's kind of a. But yeah, this is a great scene. The ungifting, the classic, the open one gift on Christmas Eve.
Oh yeah.
Like look how humble and kind of compared to the big office that Frank kind of living with his work, living in his office. He's not. He probably has like a penthouse, but he just works in his office all day. And we have like a nice humble, poor home right here. It's like a studio apartment type deal.
Now, I think these knives, I want to say these knives are kind of like a byproduct of his father.
No.
Kind of like the technically a useful gift, but just not really a thoughtful gift.
I didn't consider it that way. I see your point now with that, but I thought it more of as I thought it was more of again like Ginsu knives were like advertised on TV all the time, and again another
yes. I'm glad you bring that up. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's more a symbol of the TV thing, but
I have a lot of like oddly specific childhood nostalgia for like the infomercials with all the sets of knives.
Even Jimmy McGill likes the Ginsu knife.
God.
Remember, because he told in the first episode, he told the Skater twins, like the win in Chicago cut through like a Ginsu knife.
Of course, naturally.
But yeah, I mean, I like your idea though. The fact it'd be kind of like a non-useful gift, like saying his father. Because maybe it's like
it is something that would be very useful for certain people, but this character is definitely not among those people.
Probably just it's like built into the DNA, but I think the TV thing driving the purchase. But yeah.
Of
course, here the Kama Sutra thing is kind of nice. Showing they're kind of a physical, adorable couple.
Karen Allen's body language in this scene alone, just her body language is freaking adorable.
Of course, this there's this dog thing. It's cute. Yeah. And of course, the fact that we kind of transition from Frank wanting to see like kind of these, he's trying to linger on these good memories. Of course, there's no lesson in that, so we kind of transition from that to kind of a more embarrassing side of his life as Frisbee the dog coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
Go from rough to it's a bone.
God.
Yeah, it's really cute. So anyways, look at the love on that guy's face right there. Oh man, I had it good. Of course, we go to 1971. Big year. Really big year for Frank. Oh god, it's ridiculous. I love you can see it's a subtle thing. I like you can see Frank kind of mouth like their Frisbee without saying it. Just like he got everything in here.
Okay, this is the part where the ghost is very much like Pennywise. He's just like, he's screaming stuff from the audience. He's having a ball. He genuinely like wants to be a part of the world, but he can't.
Right. Yeah, I love these two guys.
Look at that guy, just having the time of his life. He's just loving it.
I love these guys just amongst the kid audience. It's a good image.
Right.
Here we go. So Frank is presented with, of course, again, looking at it here too, again, the TV is a persistent symbol, because not one, he's on a TV set, but I mean, behind him, he's got like a little TV. We have little TVs tracking Frank throughout the film, little monitors and TVs. Of course, again, all of this is a foreshadow to the really cool take on the Ghost of Christmas Future, who is built from a TV.
Sure.
It's not like tracking the image there, So also, what's in this scene too? The ghost posed the big three questions to him. You don't know who you are. All right, you don't know, who you are. You don't know what you want, and you don't know what's going on. Of course, kind of almost like a past, present, future, kind of like fill in the blank for that. And I got to tell you, I think the lesson in this, I could be off here. I think the lesson in this scene here, where Frank went wrong, is that I think Frank could have found middle ground. Like we do have, we drop by the Christmas party, then we head to the dinner, or we do vice versa. We drop by the dinner briefly, then we hit the Christmas
Right.
party.
It's not that Frank is wrong for wanting to go to the dinner party. It's just how he goes about it.
Exactly, because then he makes it all about him. He makes her absolutely the bad guy. Like, how can you be so selfish? That's where he's going wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean that line right there. It's just like nope. I mean that's something that's gonna haunt you,
And again, technically, this did get him far, even though again seems like the integrity of the Frisbee show. But again, it did pay off. So,
right. That's kind of the funny thing.
And then, of course, just this sad moment with poor Karen Allen here, where the doors close on her. Bye, Lumpy. And again, she's breaking. Yeah. It's like it's in his face right here. Like, hey, I'm kind of I'm edging towards breaking up with you here. If you want to say anything forever now, or hold your peace, buddy. Come on. I love the ridiculous tongue on this thing. By the way,
it kind of reminds me of the tongue on Pluto at the Disney parks.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my, yeah, that's why it's familiar.
Yeah. Why
do they need someone in the giant bone costume? I don't get it. Like, he's a prop bone. Look at this. It's just twisted.
Look, I was the Willow.
I was watching the same experience for the holidays, by the way. I just love that.
That's probably why, is that they wanted to give a poor schmuck a role.
Yep. You left Claire for Frisbee the dog. And I love this. I love that the minute Frank says he knows who he is, he knows what's going on, of course. So we exit. Again, the transitions in this for the ghost are really great here. We have the ghost Christmas past on the television monitor driving away, and Frank goes, "What's going on?" Complete undercutting his previous point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but don't worry, folks. We'll see the ghost again in a substantial saving the movie role. Saving like we need a happy ending. If only someone could get us there. Hey,
right.
That guy. A good transition here. And Tiki, this is the thing you alluded to. I agree full-heartedly with you here. This is one of the brilliance of kind of doing a reinterpretation like this, where we have the broadcast being filmed, and it's paralleling what Frank has just went through, and he's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
breaking up with the
exactly.
girl, being breaking up with Belle scene, which we're seeing filmed right here in the classical sense. Really good.
Like I said, it's very much meta before meta was even a thing. It's very ahead of its time in that way.
By the way, great comedian Buddy Hackett as Ebenezer Scrooge. Again, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
big names attached. Jamie Farr, Buddy Hackett. Buddy Hackett played Lou Costello in that really bizarre Abbott and Costello biopic in the '70s.
Oh, one of
Man,
the
that was
things you can kind of notice with the tracking of Frank's character is that every time he comes back from a ghost trip, he has changed. You know what I mean? He kind of
he's getting there.
yeah, right. But it's not perfect. It's always bumpy until the last thing.
I completely forgot about this till I rewatched it here. Just like Elliot just he sold his blood to get money from Brutus,
God.
and he gets mugged and gets his watch and his watch, his jacket, and his money stolen.
All the guy wants is a little holiday spirit, Dragon.
Yep. And again, what Frank's doing here, Frank's just trying to prove the ghost wrong. So it's kind of he's doing this out of spite, but again, it's the right step forward, but for the wrong reason. So he's going to reach out to Claire, but not to see Claire, just to kind of see, no, she can't be that good. I couldn't have made that many mistakes. And of course, he's realizing as he's walking there, like, oh God, my life's so sad. I got no one to care about me. It's a lonely birthday. Oh. We have a very pleasant face from Lethal Weapon 3, the fun and silly Dolores Hall. Here is the kindly woman who mistakes Frank for a homeless for a drifter of some variety.
Right. Well,
Again,
it's actually a mistake. It's a genuine mistake because he walks in and he's just like a raving lunatic.
she's a lot. She's a lot of silly fun in Lethal Weapon 3. I love Lethal Weapon 3. I really do because they get demoted to beat cops because they screw tremendously in the beginning. It's hilarious. Anyway, we have again a lot of big names here. So the woman, Tiki, have you ever seen Throwing Mama from the Train?
I've never even heard of it.
Oh man, that's a fun one. Anyway. So Mrs. Lift, for anyone out there, Mrs. Lift, Owen, Danny DeVito's mom from Mama from the Train.
Okay.
She's Ava here, and the actor who's playing Herman here, who has a kind of a haunting role in this movie, which we'll get to. He played Mr. Mixie Spitalik from the Superboy TV series.
Oh God. Okay.
And he was good in that. He was a good Mixie Spitalik.
God, there's so many like odd crossovers with other Christmas stuff in this movie.
Yeah, not the Howie Mandel Mixie Spitalik, Diggy. Not that one.
I just thought that Mixie Spitalik was like a Christmas character in general.
Oh no, it's just he was an imp. He's like a genie. He was like.
Oh, okay, my bad. That's my mistake.
Anyway. So yeah, Operation Reach Out is again. It's kind of a deep cut pull, possibly for like one of the versions of Scrooge, and it's kind of it's making her even more likable and just showing, oh man, this woman is so pure at heart, man. It's Frank was so silly for letting her go. And of course, this we're showing again. It's cool that he goes to deal with the present, and that brings him to Christmas presents. So it's kind of a good kind of. We're building up the ghost. I think it's a more natural way than we built up the ghost in the previous one. The previous one's like, hey, we're just doing effects like because we're going to do ghostly stuff. And this days it feels like plot ghosts build up.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, and again, Frank, he's close because again, he's got eyes on the girl. He's kind of realizing, you know what, I don't like being alone. He's taking a proactive step, but at the same time, that doesn't make him a nice guy because he's just saying they can handle it, and he's not entirely wrong either. They could handle it, but at the same time, he just needs to give her 2 minutes.
It's just the timing of it, right? It's like, yeah, you're right. He's not wrong, but at the same time, it's just like, know your place and time, buddy.
I mean, he literally just needs to give her 2 minutes to do something. Just needs to give her like a few minutes. But he's just very impatient. Again, he has the mentality of an executive, like who wants it now. He was like Veruca Salt. He wants it now.
Yeah.
And again, it's because he just piddles away his chance at happiness here.
Right.
They're volunteers because no one will pay them. What a cruel guy.
Oh, God.
And of course, he gives the traumatic advice coming up, scrape them off.
Of course, of course.
Very much kind of the if they're gonna die, they better well now do it. It's kind of the equivalent to that. And again, actually, that's kind of a clever way of working in the poor. Instead of just the poor being all around this time, what we had in the original story, London was well, not what I mean, it was bad time.
No, I mean you're right. You're right. Like there was very much an impoverished sense of the community in the original story.
Yeah, poor people. It was like the Great Depression almost.
It was almost kind of like Scrooge was like the 1%, and then everyone else was poor.
Now, this to me is really scary. What we do with Herman is really haunting here, but the fact that it's over $2, that's what's kind of like a guy asks for $2, and it makes you really reconsider you. Almost now.
Now, Joey, one thing you're going to have to clear up with me, why exactly did Herman leave?
Why did Herman... Well, I mean, he was just going back to where he usually stays, but, he needed $2. I mean, they're vague about that, I'll give you that. So
that's like, I mean, you're right. It is a haunting moment, towards the end. But I feel like that could have been set up just a little bit better, and it would have been even more effective.
Well, I'm saying they set up they needed it to heat his place. So that's why he freezes. But the real question is, what? I guess the reason he doesn't go back is, again, it's just he's really taken to heart. It's just to help people out. They're not living there. They're just being helped out, and then they're on their way. So
I guess that's true. I could see that.
That's the only thing I can. Otherwise, again, it's kind of a hole. But it's haunting. So, ooh. Oh, wait, we have a great shot coming up. I'm jumping ahead here, but again, it looks like he's a really charismatic guy here with Bryce Cummings here, and he's like, oh, you did, he's palling around with Buddy Hackett. He's so nice.
And it just me, or does Bryce kind of bear a resemblance to Michael Bay a little bit?
You're not wrong, but it's like the nice guy version of Michael Bay.
Right. It's almost kind of like Michael Bay's like nice twin brother.
It's the fact that he's directing right now, I think, kind of brings that on.
I think that's it. Yeah, the megaphone and everything. Right.
I forget who I've previous. No, I don't want it. I'm going to turn too meta here if I bring up who I think he should be cast in as a biopic.
Oh God.
Okay, now seriously, this is the shot. I love this shot here. All the lights go out, and like the one light is from. And basically, in this moment, we look exactly like we're in the Christmas Carol, but with Frank. And it's the lighting on the shot, the darkened set. It looks amazing. That's a Donner special right there. That's nice. So Tiki, hit the people with the Carol Kane stuff.
Okay, well, I don't know everything, but essentially, I know 3 big things. Okay, she auditioned, and she was terrible during her dancing audition, and that's why she got hired, was because she was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, comedically terrible. B, apparently she'd have crying fits on this movie quite frequently. I don't exactly know why, Dragon. I don't know if it was like she was self-conscious about her bad dancing or what. And
I still don't buy the crying. I think that's just like that's kind of like miscommunicated. I don't know, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
All right. Well, see, most importantly,
yes.
Basically every bit of physical comedy, including that, I'm guessing, is real. And so Bill Murray just absolutely hated working with this woman. And you can just, Dragon, this is like the most meta section of this movie, because you can just tell like Bill Murray is just so fed up. Like every moment he's on screen with this.
I'm sorry, right here when she tears his lip, if she pulls his lip, she actually teared his lip on one of the takes when they did that. That's what I'm saying. Like all those hits, all those physical things, as Tiki's saying, are real, folks.
Do you think she was having the crying fits because she was self-conscious about actually hurting him?
I'm gonna be optimistic and say yes.
Okay.
Say yes, but again, it's assuming like crying fits actually transpire. And this is funny, like the whole Three Stooges, like, hey, stop there. Let's talk about Carol Kane. Again, Carol Kane, of course, we have a fondness for Carol Kane, not just from Taxi, but especially from Gotham, where of course she plays Mrs. Cobblepot.
Mrs. Cobblepot, yes.
Yeah, I think she's adorable in this role. A lot of people don't care for her in the movie.
I mean, like I said, I just think it's just like, it's fascinating watch. I will say she's probably the weakest of the 3 ghosts, but it's just, it's like fascinating watching the movie and all the physical stuff with Bill Murray. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just totally like on another level. It's like, you could just, it's just the filmmaking, like the actual filmmaking kind of coming out in these moments.
One, I like the bubble effect, but secondly, more importantly, so I think it's great how with the abuse, the abuse that she kind of inflicts upon Frank, that's for the abuse that he's inflicted upon others, but also the network censor, and that she's all she's all cutesy at one moment, but at the same time she's again she's inflicting the abuse that he has just unknowingly inflicted upon others, like that poor network censor every which way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying in general, again, he's kind of he suffers direct abuse that he's like when he flicked everyone's ear beforehand, she flicks his ear like that identically. So it's kind of neat. And also, of course, as Carol Kane, I think it's kind of funny. She reminds me a lot of Truffles from Chowder. Looking back on it,
I could see that. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Chowder pulled direct reference from this for Truffles. It's that identical. And also, I gotta tell you though, here and there, one, I love how Carol Kane's just turned from being really sweet and really genuine, after she's hit him so many times, like she's like, oh, poor Frank. Like right here, we realize I didn't know Grace's husband died. She seems genuinely like, oh, poor Frank.
It's like I said, that might be kind of like a weird, a weird meta thing where it's like she's like, oh, Bill Burry. Ugh.
Bill Burry.
Yeah, poor Bill Murray. Poor Bill Murray,
Bill Burr's alter ego, Bill Murray.
Oh, God.
No, but I see what you're saying there. But it's kind of like almost like a Farmiga-esque charm to kind of the over the top. Like again, if we're remaking this Tiki, we get Patrick Fabian as Bryce Cummings. We have Vera Farmiga as the Ghost of Christmas.
Oh, Vera Farmiga absolutely is Christmas Present. Yes, absolutely.
But again, because he has that sweetness, I love that you can kind of turn him on a dime from hitting him to then being like, so kind of fairy-like.
Who would be Christmas Past?
Oh God, someone fun. What? I don't know.
This is gonna be easy, but I could see Cranston as Christmas Past.
I could see Cranston as everyone, Tiki. It's not helping.
I know.
I don't know. Part of me wants to say John. I would like Jonathan Banks. I don't want to go too Better Call Saul with it, but I would say Jonathan Banks. It's like kind of like we didn't. Anyway, getting back to this,
I could honestly see Jonathan Banks playing Herman.
Well, I mean, sure.
Like how haunting would that be? When we get the reveal with him,
that'd be traumatizing, Tiki.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, maybe Tom Hanks. I don't think we could afford him, but Tom Hanks. Why not? Guy's got an Oscar. He's good. Anyway, so so we've gone to points, and we had a really we talked about the whole Calvin thing earlier on. Again, it's kind of a mute, kind of doing mute right in a film, and of course linking the trauma and kind of linking it to again making it different from Tiny Tim, but at the same time lumping a lot of like the same feelings we have with Tiny Tim in there.
Sure.
And I think Christmas Present does the most kind of the clever reinventions on, like, again, it most directly follows the Christmas Carol story, but we're adding better layers to it, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So like here with Frank's brother, this scene is completely different than the way that scene's played in the book, because there's a lot of fondness for Frank in this room. There's not like a lot of like, we're not scoffing at him. They're saying, it'd be great if we had him here, and his brother still loves him to pieces, and that we see that move Scrooge in the moment. Of course, classically, Frank in the moment, and classically, Scrooge kind of has the most development within the Christmas Present story,
right? And
here we have the wonderful Wendy Malick. Probably the youngest I've ever seen Wendy Malick in anything, to be honest. I usually see her do, usually she does voice work, so it's kind of Wendy Malick. Principal from Fillmore. Of course, the nicety that Grace provided here, like getting his brother, like she knows that he regret not getting his brother a VCR. So we got him a VCR, and Frank's like, hey, I want to get a towel. That's all nice.
Okay, I will say though, this is absolutely not the fault of the movie whatsoever, but I feel like the VCR thing is like the thing that dates the movie the most.
To be fair, Tiki, one, it is a movie about time travel. Second,
yes,
and more importantly, when we see the time travel, again, the fair has a year on it, Tiki. It has a year, so I mean, it is set in 1988. It's not supposed to be in modern day, so it's VCRs were big in it.
No. I know it's not supposed to be modern day. I'm just saying, like, everyone's just like, oh wow, a VCR.
At the time, that's the response. I'm going to tell you, it doesn't seem like a problem.
Hey, Dragon.
Yes.
You can watch Gandhi whenever you want. Isn't that crazy?
Uh,
Okay, I'm literally pulling like a very obscure Siskel and Ebert reference here.
Thinking
This
that.
is that was Siskel and Ebert's reaction to VHS when they when they talked about VHS on their show. Like that's literally the movie they pulled of like you could watch Gandhi over and over and over again. It's like
Anyway,
what a
so
random movie to watch over and over again, right?
yeah, now very much like how Scrooge is he's kind of cheated out of a good dinner and company. In this case, Frank is cheated out of again trivia, where he'd be excellent at. He'd have a good time with his brother, as we're seeing unfold before him. Also, another thing I like that's kind of changed here. I like how she kind of plugs his ears and like la, 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 basically so he can't hear what his brother gave him for Christmas. It kind of builds to a nice heartfelt reveal later on. He's armed with information. Now, and this is great. Now, again, traditionally, Christmas present ends on a haunting or scary note, and here we do similarly. But again, we take her out of the equation, make it not kind of like slapstick funny or anything. Not make it like dark humor or anything. We just make it just straight kind of sad. And right here is kind of like some moments we in Groundhog's Day where we got Murray kind of in a sad situation, like the old man he's trying to save in Groundhog Day almost. Oh, by the way, we do have, of course, we got to address this for posterity without getting political or anything. Of course, we do have a
Trump Tower joke.
Yes, we do. We have much like Home Alone. We have a Trump joke.
Well, yeah, but at least it's not Home Alone 2 where it's like the actual guy shows up.
Well, that's what I mean. We have a Trump gag of some variety in another holiday movie, so I just thought it'd be poignant to bring it up. So yeah, the thing with Herman here is just it's tragic because they didn't give him $2. He froze to death. That's just sad. And again, like the thing that really hits it on there was he had his watch. He bragged about how it played Christmas music, and of course he plays Christmas music after he taps on it. That's just sad. Very haunting. And again, what's kind of cool about it is it has a I don't want to say happy-go-lucky, but it's kind of a happy end here. But you got to remember the truly haunting thing about this is that it is a fatality. We didn't really have like an actual fatality in the Christmas Carol story. So this guy,
no, you're right.
It's not like hey, it was all a dream. Like no, he actually died.
Mm-hmm.
Later on we see he's kind of palling around with Carol.
So I guess this is Bill Murray kind of like directly addressing my kind of plot hole.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it kind of took kind of addressed it. So I think that's enough. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just to me the thing that like because Bill Murray like specifically raises the question. I'm like, yeah, that is a good point. Why didn't he stay there?
Well, by the way, I like this, and I have like a fan theory here. Well, it gets us to this point, gets us to the Herman scene, is that each time she hits him, I think the more intense or the more or the harder the hit, it brings you to a heavier realization. And she hit him with a toaster, which is really hard, and I think that brought him to the Herman thing. Because again, he should feel most bad about that, but at the same time, he just the hit kind of hit harder away from him. So
that poor actress just always getting hurt.
Yep.
I'm not going.
Oh, yeah. And again, here is that Bryce Cummins, that John Glover. He's so darn likable.
Oh yeah.
I just love he's using little people as shields in this. One of my favorite gags is I think the pacing is brilliant here. We just go from Christmas present to Christmas future instantly. I
think I know what you're talking about. This gag coming up is probably like, I'd say this is the best Bill Murray freak out in the movie.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd pick this one. It's great.
Like you said, the timing of it is just great. It's like, oh, Frank, we're going to get you to your office where it's nice and safe.
Opens the door. And again, we're expecting this, but not this soon. And there's Christmas future freaks him out. You'll notice this. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed. It went by like in a flash, but he accidentally, Bill Murray's freaking out like this. He accidentally hit poor Alfred Woodard right in the face. That's why she's clutching her face. They backhanded her by accident. I love the fact that the mouth can speak like Bryce.
Yeah.
It's just him buying it back.
I feel like the great thing about that costume is like it's just cheap enough to buy that it would be a TV production, but it's just expensive enough to buy that it would be like the actual movie. Ghost to Christmas Future.
Yeah. It's What Mask of the Phantasm? Looks more like the ghost of Christmas future. Anyway,
of course, I like the stuff with Calvin kind of being inspired by Tiny Tim.
Yep. Or she was in Naked Gun 3, by the way. Naked Gun 3 is really funny in that
I feel so bad for her. She's like the just the punching bag of the whole film.
No, not her. I'm talking about the Tiny Tim actress, Mary Lou.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And this is where the film, I feel like at this point, this is where it's like anyone who's watching the film, it's like you've got to be invested at this point, right? It's like impossible not to be, between the music and, and I don't know.
I hear you.
As you said, it's got a really good pace to it. It's like, all right, like we're in it. Like we're in the thick of it now. It's like we can tell that there's big things that are just around the corner.
Yeah. I mentioned this earlier. I just want to say it again for posterity's sake. Again, John Houseman, the man who trained Kevin Conroy when he started out off as an actor, is in this movie. John Houseman.
So, do you think those antlers are stapled on?
Well, I mean, later on when he says,
I mean, probably not in real life, right? But like in the canon of the movie.
That's the thing. I'd like to say the guy was true to his word and didn't do, but later on he was kind of looking to another guy like, I don't, it's like, oh, by the way, so again, of course, the parallel, here's probably the best parallel we have, where again, we reach the end of, oh, I've learned everything. The ghost of Christmas present is, no, you're Scrooge going to be visited by one more ghost. Of course, transitioning to this right now, where again we had the tab gag paid off, where it's more vodka than it is tab. It's like nervously sprinkling a little bit of tab in there. There we go. This word. There we go. So I love how Tika, this is my favorite subversion in the whole movie, I guess, if I had to pick one. So while our ghost, we have this moment where we can have our cake and we eat it too. We can have our cake, where across the screen we have a very traditional, similar to the ghost we just saw in the elevator, where it's kind of a skeleton-looking ghost. And again, there you go, it's your classic Ghost Christmas Future. But, and again, the minute he's about to be put into play, like a giant hand's coming out of the screen, and we know what's going to happen. And it's almost like a matchstick moment for a third act, almost, where then Elliot Laddermilk drops by with a shotgun. I love this segment of the movie. Again, it's hilarious, and people for years, and still to this day, have always said Bill Murray is very, very much a Bugs Bunny. He's a live action Bugs Bunny. And again, Bobcat Goldthwait as Elmer Fudd and as Bugs Bunny.
I love how accommodating he is to give Bill Murray a head start. Sure.
That's the Bugs Bunny of it all right there. Like, would you give
right.
There's one of the ridiculous lines here. Like,
it's like he could have just killed Bill Murray right then and there.
Like these globes or his Emmys are like blown up. Like, my babies.
Meanwhile, Jonathan Banks just sheds a single tear because Jonathan Banks is the keeper of the Emmys.
And he just says, I watched those Emmys grow up.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
I raised those Emmys.
Oh, Jesus.
Now they're gone. And then we just see basically like a Christmas Story. Jonathan Banks, he's like, but more emotional. He is giving like the best. He's giving another Emmy winning performance as he's gluing back the shattered Emmy part. And it's just not happening. And he just
okay. I didn't know we'd go off on such a Jonathan Banks tangents with that.
Anyway, yeah, this is one. I love Elfman's score here. I love as it's about to happen. My favorite moment scored in the entire film is when Elliot here, he starts singing, Santa Claus is coming to town, and of course the Elfman score, you better watch out, da 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 da. It basically builds a Santa Claus is coming, and it gets all eerie and Elfman-like, and it's great. Mm-hmm. Love it. And again, this elevator.
Minor plot hole. Like, you would think that Murray would tell the difference between the two.
Never mind, he's an executive, Tiki. Come on.
Well, I'm just saying he clearly saw the Ghost of Christmas Future that they were using in the show. You know
I'm
what I
just
mean?
saying
Like this is clearly not it.
I'm just saying being the Scrooge archetype here, just he's not again. I don't know. Then again, he's had some developments, and maybe he'd kind of clear his mind out of that thing. I don't know. I just feels like an executive line of thinking. I don't know.
Now, having said that, I mean, I love the rib cage acting as a prison for all the souls.
Basically this whole third act from this scene onward with the Ghost of Christmas Future. I tell you, TK,
Yeah, and here we go. I mean, this is the childhood trauma right here, man.
TK, I love the shot. I love just the reveal through the face. The face that is a TV again. The symbol of Frank and he walks. We mirror the shot, so he's walking through the hallway that was just projected on the face, man. That's why you get Donner, man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and TK, look at this. My favorite part of this whole Calvin thing here at the very end, where he glares up at him, even though he's a ghost and he shouldn't be able to see him. He shouldn't be able to see Frank. Glares up at him. Oh, please, this is your fault.
Yeah, that's a good touch. That's a good touch, right?
The shame on his face, and now we're seeing Frank has learned something by now. Now Frank's learning stuff at the very end here. Look
I
how
like he goes into like lawyer mode almost. He's like, "Oh no, we can totally fix this. We can totally fix this. It's not a problem at all."
Exactly, and
don't worry about it.
And you'll notice this is a fun device on the TV as we keep getting lower and lower. On the elevator, the face it shows like this. The reason I love the TV thing so much with Frank here is that it personalizes the Ghost of Christmas Future. This is Frank's ghost of his own future. That's like everyone would have a different ghost of their future.
Uh-huh.
And Frank's ghost would, it projects Frank on its face for a moment, then it gets more skeleton, more dead Frank as it goes forward, and as it keeps going on. And honestly, here, what's so eerie about Karen Allen, seeing the way she's made up, it looks kind of corpse-like. And again, I think we're foreshadowing, we're getting closer and closer to death each floor we get down to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's why, like, each scene is like, this is probably what's going to happen, but at the same time, we're pushing it to be more dramatic and more kind of haunting. Like again, it's like an all white, insane padded room, insane asylum, and it's like it's a smoky kind of corpse-like, Victorian kind of paint job.
I love the random Victorian costumes in that scene.
And now, as we get down here, and again, I think what's cool about the elevator is it's getting closer and closer to burning, closer and closer to hell of his own making. As we keep going, further and further down. Of course, what's cool about the ghosts here too is we have all the smoke coming billowing out from under them. But again, this shot here, again, this is all Donner charm right here. So this is why you bring him on right here, folks. This the long hallway. This ghost walking down like the smoke coming out from under him. It's just the cremation room. You never see a cremation room look this good.
Yeah, like I said, like I'm sure this scene terrified the crap out of me when I was a kid. But honestly, I don't really have specific childhood memories of it. So I'm guessing I just like literally blocked it out because it's intense, man. I mean, even watching it as an adult, it's intense.
The bit that gets me, one, I love the false sense of security here, where initially it's not security, like the false sense of like another tragedy where he fears that his brother is in the casket. It's like, again, we showed that our Scrooge for this film has a soft spot for his brother instead of not caring for the nephew that much. In this case, he cares for his brother a great deal, and then, oh boy, it's going to get so intense when he's trying to stop himself from being put into the fire. Again, this is like the best. I'll say this much to you. This is the best example of Scrooge kind of falling down the grave. This is the best version of
doing this. Absolutely.
Again, it's terrifying how we can. This is the Donner cuts right here, like the way we kind of go from him inside the casket trying to beat his way out, and the line. And this is Murray delivering. I mean, it's going by really fast, folks. We got a lot of stuff with Murray here, but I mean, like the lines are most haunting to me amongst these edits are, "Don't let me burn, Jimmy. Don't let me burn, Mom."
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying. And earlier on, again, we have like the Groundhog Day delivery of "I'm sorry, Claire." It's him apologizing to Claire, seeing what he basically in some way he's killed Claire's spirit. Therefore, he's just that's why she's kind of looking corpse-like. He's killed her spirit because of that advice he gave her. So it's all great performance on Murray's part. And then, of course, we have the overzealous performance here, which is this is a good example of all the yelling and overacting here.
Oh yeah. the transformation works so well. You know, as soon as he steps out of the elevator, he's just like, I'm alive.
Of course, not knowing his shotgun's about to be pointed.
Exactly.
But he doesn't care because he's just having such a good. It's like, it's fighting. If only the world worked like this. If only we could address, like crazy gun-toting maniacs with belly, with belly blows. Like I love that. They're just spinning around the room. And again, this is like we're getting our Bob Cratchit, and we're getting some Bob Cratchit here. Where of course, Grace is the main Cratchit here, but at the same time, he's getting the bonuses and the salary upgrade. But at the same time, like the boy, he is now Scrooge's. He's now Scrooge's sidekick. He's now Frank's sidekick. Like boy, bring the goose. In this case, boy, bring the shotgun.
I just love how these two they become like instant buddies.
Yeah, it's great. And again, it's like now like Frank's looking at like we're a team, a cross and ladder milk. Of course, he's crossing himself like, oh god, we're gonna die. This is the point where now we're wondering what the heck is going to happen next. This is like the matchstick moment of our third act. Like, what the heck is going to happen next?
Sure.
We know how it usually goes, but he kind of made amends to him, so that should be the end technically. But what else do we got?
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left in the movie before the credits start rolling, so it's it is very much like, all right, how are they gonna just have the big redemption speech be the whole rest of the movie?
I love this shot in the fictional depiction of this broadcast, by the way. I love this coin shot. I wish some adaptation of Scrooge would pull that. So by the way, Steve Kahn here, the guy who's saying, "What's he doing here?" Before Bryce says he's finished. Right before them, that's Steve Kahn. He is from he's the captain from the Lethal Weapon movies. He's in all the Lethal Weapon movies. Yeah, the boss guy, nice guy. Yes. So this is just crazy in the best way here that he's hijacked the broadcast. And look, I'm going to speak from. I'm not going to allude to too much here. Let's just say it's hard to pull something like this off. I know from pulling what Frank's doing here. It does not usually end well, but it's amazing to see it work out here.
I mean, it's like he's literally hijacking the broadcast, but he's like, you know what? I could give you a better Christmas Carol. God damn it! I could give you an even more genuine Christmas Carol.
That's what I'm saying. Trust me, it worked out a lot better here.
Now I'm curious.
No, I'm not gonna. I won't tell you that one. So anyway, but yeah, birthday? No, not a chance. Anyway, so. So yeah, again, just Frank. He's just going to own the broadcast here, and again, he's pumping it full of seasonal cheer and honesty, and brutal honesty, saying, "Yeah, guys, I screwed up. I was a bad guy, but don't be like me. Be younger, me and my little baby brother here. Look at this nice gesture he gave me for the holidays. That's what the season's all about." And Ralph Garman loves this scene, and he does an impression of Bill Murray doing this. It's like only Bill Murray doing this scene. He does like the hysterically happy Bill Murray at the end of this movie really well. I really love that as a message, though. I love the "it's never too late" message around Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fact, and that's what what was Claire put forward earlier on. Like, hey, Lumpy, it's never too late. It's really, really nice. And again, this is cool and trippy too.
Oh, what? When the minnow thing comes up.
How the heck does he know? I mean, that's just, again, it's the fun liberties we can take in doing it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. And this shows you how nice a team they make, because he's defending Frank here, and he's kind of securing his job over Bryce's, where he's saying, "Called you a flatulating butthead." I've never heard a man describe another man like that before.
God.
Of course, telling Robert Mitchum this, the great actor Robert Mitchum, is just really funny.
Of course, Bobcat just has such a distinct voice, it's like it permeates.
It's XL from Buzz Lightyear Star Command.
Right.
Might various other roles, understand that's what I know him from. And of course, here again, this is an ambitious ending, folks, and I think it works tremendously. I think people love the movie for this scene. If I'm being quite frank, I think it's the scene that makes the movie.
No, I mean it really is because it's essentially the same message as the ending of A Christmas Carol, but just done. It kind of brings the whole like meta, like riffing A Christmas Carol sort of full circle.
There's a ridiculous line here where Elliot says that was just an innocent window. So now you see you're dealing with this fact. He's just like he hyped up the fact I killed the window. Aren't I scary?
Right.
Of course, here we have a beautiful chorus girl. I'm not saying just kind of like put the mistletoe and everything is Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the woman who like basically sexually assaults Bryce.
Well, again, that's a network censor.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm not a fan of that joke. I don't think that joke ages well.
Well, I'm saying, come on, D. She's been, she herself was, abused throughout this entire production, like being beaten and with all these comedic things happening to her.
She comes on like really hard. You know what I mean? It's like it's not just the kiss. It's like she wraps her legs around him.
Yeah, I would just chalk it up to, but oh heck, it's Christmas. I give it a pass.
All right,
heck, it's Christmas. And again, this is really sweet here, where again he's just basically again it's never too late message, and he's just giving credit to Claire here. It's all sweet and wonderful. And of course, how the heck is Claire going to get to that studio in time? If only we had a pre-established mode of ghostly transportation. But oh heck, it's not Ghostbusters. We're never going to find that. Oh heck, now the holiday's ruined. Oh, the movie's over. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll go home on a down note. Like, well, Claire and Frank didn't get together, folks. Sorry.
But that's how Christmas Carol goes. He never reunites with the girl.
That's true.
In this case, the ghost actually exists, so she's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tiki, they don't say this explicitly like I thought they did when I watched it before, but the boss, Rob Mitchum, I'd like to think that he doesn't fire Frank because he and his wife are having such a good time. I'd like to think maybe
I'd like to think so too. At the end of the day, though, I don't really think it matters. I think the message of the movie is that it doesn't matter if he loses his job or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't matter. But I'd like to think, even despite being a $40 million broadcast, I'd like to think that hey, holiday cheer, and it was different for a change.
Right.
Everyone's seen Christmas.
I mean, as I said, yeah, exactly. Like, how many different versions of A Christmas Carol have there been?
Exactly.
And in a way, Dragon, like I said, it goes back to the weird meta thing about the movie. It's like, their broadcast of A Christmas Carol is a big success because it takes a lot of risks and it subverts a lot of tropes.
Yeah, and again, he's not making that phone call to fire him. He's not. He looks all happy and go, look, I'd like to think things turned out well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is Bill Murray firing into the whole, it's basically maintaining the holiday spirit all year round. Like, why does it just have to be a once a year type thing? Basically showing that he's definitely a changed man. Of course, the cherry on top being little old Calvin. Little Calvin speaking kind of the word, the moral of the day. Yeah.
And the big difference between, I'm sorry to bring up this direct comparison again, but like the big difference between Calvin and El Camino Christmas is that El Camino Christmas, like the kid is literally like, he's like fluently talking by the end of the movie. Whereas with Calvin, like we can, it is treated as a miracle as it should be. But at the same time, we can tell we have a long road to go with this kid.
Yeah, I mean, even when Calvin does speak, and again, we're not saying it's the same affliction because again, it's more trauma than the other thing. But regardless, just the point is that how you handle that. The problem is that the resolution to the problem is not clear cut, and that he whispers "God bless us, everyone."
Right.
He whispered it, and that just he's not a chatty Cathy quite yet.
Sure. He might never be a chatty Cathy.
Like again, you never know. But again, just points he got something out there and it was all seasonal, all magical, like the perfect little cherry on top. So hey, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Made Mariah Dillard smile.
That's not an easy feat.
Oh, it's not.
I'd like to think that this character, like maybe if the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, Future thing did not happen with Frank Cross, that this character would eventually become hardened and turn into Mariah Dillard.
Yeah, she probably would eventually
that's the other part of the of the Ghost of Christmas Future thing that we didn't see, was what her personal life was like outside of Calvin.
Yep. See, if the movie does happen, then about a decade or two later, Frank's gonna, he's gonna be in poor health, and he's gonna have a whole adventure with his daughter he forges with another woman, and if the movie did not happen, all these alternate Earths, so to speak, folks, all these parallel Earths, if the movie did not happen, then Alfred Woodward's character would just eventually murder Frank with a champagne bottle.
God.
And then absorb his wealth and then start a little club in Harlem.
So what do you think of the theme song of this movie not being a traditional Christmas song?
Well, remember, they did seed it in there earlier with...
I know they seeded it in there. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying...
And Herman, he's an angel now. Yeah, happy ending. And again, you want to look at this as... I know they're all, real in this movie, but you look at it as kind of reflections of Frank and Frank's Ghost of Christmas Future. I mean, they're all, they're all happy, much like Frank is happy. So that's kind of a...
That one shot of all the spirits singing in the ribcage, that's such a Muppet moment.
What Muppet moment? Those mean Return of the... Oh, I'm sorry, all of them coming out of the ribcage, yeah.
I'm just saying, the creepy creatures, singing along to the happy song is such a Muppet moment.
Yeah, but I'm just saying him looking over with the girl looking over to the ghost, very much Return of the Jedi, looking at the Force ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Point that out. So, I mean, I love Scrooge getting... I love Scrooge getting the girl in the end with Frank, and patching things up with Claire very publicly, and it's a happy Christmas for all. So again, it makes it's such a feel good ending. It's like the epitome of a feel good ending, and of course we got "Feed me, Seymour, feed me," and even more meta stuff with Bill Murray telling the folks in the audience to sing along.
Right.
And also with that Muppet thing too, you brought up, it's like the future doesn't look so scary. I think that's what they're getting at with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now
sure.
A lot brighter. And even Herman's there to join the crowd. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm just waiting for the credits to roll so we can get into final thoughts.
Sure. My Brother, the King of Christmas. That's a good note to go out on. Yeah.
I also like how that could be a slightly fourth wall thing, you who's been making noise throughout the whole movie.
But also,
I know he's directing it towards his brother, but he could be talking about the audience.
Sure. And you also have my brother, the King of Christmas, might be another fourth wall thing of hey, he's also my brother in real life, huh?
God.
Again, the two brothers at the party, both two Murray brothers, and the third one being the father. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Final thoughts, Dragon. I think we can wrap this up in less than 5 minutes. I don't think we need to talk through all the credits.
Well, sure. We'll just give an overall how we felt about the month, Seasonal Shenanigans. But do
you want to go through the 12 selections?
Well, sure. Let's finish on this movie first, then we'll go.
Okay.
There. So I really liked. I like Scrooge. Again, maybe excise the restaurant part, but again, it's fine in there because again, it's just extra cool effects. That's kind of what it is, but it's a good time. Tiki, right now, This would be where he scrubs off the Scrooge. By the way, just letting you know.
Well, yeah, except in my copy, I don't see him.
I know. I'm just letting you know, just in case you want when does it happen?
Oh, okay.
Okay. But yeah, it's a cool alternative take on Scrooge. Took some fun liberties, and it all panned out well. It's very well remembered.
Yeah, I think it's just a fascinating point in Bill Murray's career, especially because he doesn't really like to talk about it. It's almost like it's a success in spite of Bill Murray's feelings about it. But really, like I said, I think at the end of the day, just the impressive thing for me is that this film really should be a tonal nightmare. It should be just all over the place when it comes to tone. And that's something that typically for me just really rubs me the wrong way. But for some reason, what they do with this movie, it is a very mixed tone with this movie. It does go all over the place, but I don't know. It just works. And I really don't have any, big poetic reason why it works. It's just, it's very, very solid. It just really keeps you engaged.
Yeah,
I think the pacing has something to do with that too. I like the fact that it's only an hour and a half.
I mean, let's address it. It's not everyone's cup of tea because I mean, some people again, and especially Siskel and Ebert, like half of Siskel and Ebert. I think Ebert's the one who didn't like it, but
Ebert did not like it.
Yeah, Ebert didn't like it, and that's the main reason he cited, to my recollection, is that basically Murray kind of being overly harsh and basically overly unlikable, which again was the take that kind of make you wonder. At least my approximation was I like to think he went overboard making him unlikable, so we were puzzled as to how the heck does a guy get this bad.
Sure.
Which again, I think is kind of the purpose of any Christmas Carol story. You're going to be really like, how the heck does a guy get this bad? And you're going to be invested in the journey backwards. So, and not everyone's cup of tea in the tonal, if not tonal, then just kind of like, it's either like if you're a Murray fan, I think you're going to be more open to this movie than obviously.
I'm a big Bill Murray fan, so
yeah, again, we're fellow Bilbos.
Bilbos, yes. Okie dokie.
Well, yeah, again, to me, it's very well shot. Again, I love it's Richard Donner's take on A Christmas Carol with some added Bill Murray for good measure, and it's a good time.
All right, so let's go through the 12 that we've done. Thank God we got it done before Christmas.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, well, not before Christmas, before the end of Christmas.
Yes.
All right, so Garfield Christmas.
Oh, that was nice. Garfield's not let us down this year.
Nope. I especially love the grandmother in that special.
I love the opening. I really love the opening.
Why him?
Why him? Again, I like half that movie. I like Cranston. I like Keegan-Michael Key.
It has its moments, but overall, it's kind of a mess.
Not Franco's best work, but
No. Okay, our hypothetical DCEU Justice League bitches.
Wait,
I feel like I went a little too meta with that. Like, I kind of have, like, I like the meta storyline I came up with. I just think that, much like how, remember when we did the Fantastic Four Wes Anderson thing, and I put so much emphasis on the casting that I kind of forgot to make a movie? That's kind of how it is here. I put so much emphasis on the meta element of this that I forgot to actually make a good special.
Right, Tiki, we missed one. Before that, we have Arkham Origins.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Right.
So I'll go. Okay, so Arkham Origins. What do you think of that?
Arkham Origins was fantastic. Actually, that was a big surprise for me. I didn't think I'd like that nearly as much as I did, especially because I've heard mixed things about the game. Yeah,
that's the thing. The gameplay, they basically, I think they wanted more, but they just kind of got more of the same. I wanted more of the same, so I was happy with it. I really like the story for reasons we went into access. That very much kind of, again, fitting into this track in our Die Hard theme. We did kind of start it with Arkham Origins, kind of what we get from Die Hard being put into play.
And of course, Arkham Origins takes place over one night, much like Die Hard.
Exactly. Now, it's my suggestion. Again, I had a lot of fun kind of crafting that pitch, and I was proud of my pitch.
Yeah. Okay, so Supermansion Dragon.
Supermansion. I don't think Tiki liked that one very much.
Oh, you think? That was literally my personal sausage party, Dragon. Thank you for that experience. I was just like, Christmas. Oh, okay, now I get it. Now I get how Dragon could be so angry at something that's animated. All right. Okay, but moving from the negative to the positive, I think we both agree that Snow was probably the best thing we reviewed this year.
Yeah, that's my favorite we did this year.
Yeah, maybe not technically the best because it is a TV movie, but sure. My God, is it that just brought back all the nostalgia? I love that movie.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
Let's see. So, should be Gremlins. Yeah, it's Gremlins. Okay, we had a good time with Gremlins.
Yeah. Gremlins, to me, I feel like I like the first half of Gremlins a little better than the second half. I wish we had a little bit more E.T. stuff with Billy, bonding with Gizmo. Oh, but what we get, I mean, it is a fantastic movie. Awesome practical effects.
Well, let me mention this because I forgot to mention on the Gremlins thing, so it's kind of moot, but I just want to get it in there for Seasonal Shenanigans. I love the little E.T. plush cameo, when we reveal Spike within the line of all the plush stuff, and it's right next to an E.T. doll. It's hey, E.T. among the plush again. But yeah, it's I love the climax of Gremlins, so yeah, it's.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Billy Peltzer is again Zach Galligan. He's a nice boy.
Muppet Family Christmas.
I can't get enough of that snowman, man. I keep honestly. The songs are. I watched it the second time. The songs are really stuck in my head. Mainly that, with Fozzie Bear. It's so cute. It's harmless and it's fun.
All right. Arthur's Perfect Christmas.
I wish the conversation went better on that. I really do. But it's not just that I'm saying this. I wish I expected it to come out differently. Just period. But I was the most nostalgic pick we did.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the songs, I mean the songs in this special to me are the ones that kind of earworm themselves into my head, especially Baxter Day.
Yeah, I got a little bit of Baxter Day caught. It's like right behind my ear,
All right, El Camino Christmas.
Had a good time with it. I still the Tiki kind of the Tim Allen's big scene in that movie just amazes me. That's the reason I want to talk about El Camino Christmas. Kind of sneaked in on us at the very last minute there, but it was a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoyed El Camino Christmas quite a bit. There is that thing with the autism subplot for me that kind of makes me uncomfortable, but I digress. I don't really try. I try not to take away from the movie with that because it is very personal to me. But no, I mean, good performances all the way around. Really interesting structure. Oh yeah, Kirkwood Smith,
and of course, it's the dramatic Tim Allen performance. Finally, he's in a drama. Anyway, so of course, Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard was fantastic for the most part. I mean, I think we can both agree that pacing-wise, it's not the strongest film in the world, but it just holds up. It's just a very, very well-constructed action movie. What more is there to say about it?
Definitive. I can't believe it's Christmas. We finally did it, and again, within the National Film Registry acceptance of the same year. So, yeah.
Oh, all right, Dragon. I gotta say, getting all this done by Christmas was super stressful for me. So I am so glad it's over. I mean, I had fun, but I am glad it's over.
Right, so I guess it's goodbye then, right?
Till next year.
Right. Well, kids, time to dash away, dash away, dash away. All but as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time
with even more seasonal shenanigans.
Fa la 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 la
la la la.
You America's favorite old fuck reading a book.